Hello, everyone. My name is Selena Madrid, Public Information Officer for the Las Cruces Police Department. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. Tonight, we're going to give you a closer look at how policing is viewed in our community and the program helping do just that. Bridging the Badge starts right now. Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us for this month's segment of Bridging the Badge. We've been getting a lot of questions on social media about our Citizens Academy, so we thought that would be the perfect topic to talk about today. Joining me, I have Lieutenant Tate McBride and Officer Austin Arnold. You guys are the perfect people to talk about this because you guys are there pretty much every day during the Citizens Academy. What is the Citizens Academy, and what do we want people to know about it?
Well, the Citizen Academy as a whole, it's an interactive educational program that brings like a behind the scenes for our police department. So people can come in, the students can come in and learn about our policies, procedures, figure out what it's like for decision-making processes for a day-to-day officer.
And you guys have different curriculum for every week. I guess talk to me a little bit about the duration of the Citizens Academy and just what people can really expect.
Yeah, so it's a 4-week program, twice a week, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We felt that the weekends we didn't want to take away from people's families, so we did during the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Every day is different. Every class is different. So there's a different topic each day that they would come in, so they're learning different things every day.
What was the purpose behind creating the Citizens Academy? This is the 9th one, correct?
This is the 9th one.
So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So law enforcement is criticized for not always communicating effectively with the community. And this is our way of having a stronger voice, a more impactful voice, where we're actually opening ourselves up to questions and offering information that we don't particularly try to convince anybody of anything. We're trying to put out objective information to dispel myths.
And what has the response been from some of the people who have gone through the academy that you guys have seen? Has it been fairly positive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the feedback has all been positive. The criticisms have been pretty light. Generally, people respond that they learned something they didn't know before, that they had a preconceived notion based off of media coverage, things they've seen in short video clips, and we help put a lot of that into perspective. And so it's more of an eye-opening experience for them than anything else.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I mean, the one criticism that I would get through our evals is it's not long enough. They want more. So that's what they want. They want more time, more sessions. So that's like the main criticism I'm getting from the public.
This is such a cool experience too, and it really is. A lot of people are just excited about it. We got quite a few of applications this time around for this current one. I guess talk to me a little bit about that and what we want people to know about how they can apply.
Yeah, so the application process, when we do open, we don't have a set date, set time. It's usually at the beginning of each year. Once I get the green light from chief, so to speak. So the application process is usually around January at the start of each year. The applications, as shown here, will be able to be picked up at either one of our stations at 217 East Picacho or 550 North Sonoma Ranch for a hard copy, or you can visit online at lascruces.gov to get an online one. In the application itself, you're going to fill out your information. If you've had any felony convictions, any misdemeanor arrests within the past few years. There's also attached to this a ride-along waiver because it is for our citizens after they graduate the academy to go on a ride-along to get that full experience and not just get it from us in the classroom, but out there in the real world.
And would you say that we welcome all walks of life? I mean, just being able to be a part of the Citizens Academy and to be able to capture and showcase the work that you guys are doing, it's a good range of people. There's obviously, we got some younger people, we have some criminal justice majors, some older folks. I guess talk to me a little bit about that and just the interest in general.
Yeah, we go for kind of a wide spectrum.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people who are already pro-law enforcement, and we're able to change their minds and give honest, objective information that even offers perspective to them. But what we're after is not people that are already necessarily pro-law enforcement, but we want to hit a wide array. And the reason is, again, we're not trying to convince anybody of anything in particular. We're there to provide objective information, allow people to ask questions. We encourage them in the very beginning. I want you to ask me the hard questions. I want you to ask me the things that you kind of maybe don't feel comfortable asking because of, you're talking face to face with a cop. But that's what we're after, because that's where the growth comes from, is those difficult questions.
Would you say that this is really just a way to help bridge the gap between our department and the community who is really seeking transparency from us in general?
I'd say so. You're already doing a great job of that in the social media aspect. This is a more personal, one-on-one. You get to ask whatever you want. Everybody's got an opinion. We see a lot of questions in comment threads and things like that, where people are kind of thirsty for more information. And this is their chance, again, for them to ask us literally whatever they want. We tell them, you can't offend us. We want you to ask the hard questions, the things that other people are probably already asking themselves. And then we provide objective information based off of research or reality, body-worn camera footage, stories, experiences from officers themselves. And they can kind of analyze that and make their own conclusions from there.
Talk to me, both of you, a little bit about some of the curriculum, some of the topics that you hit on in the Citizens Academy. And is it the same, I guess, every single Citizens Academy, or do you change it up?
That's a great question. So as of right now, it has been the same for the past previous years, because these topics that have been chosen hit all corners of life of what's really going on, and for the time constraint of the Citizen Academy. So some just off the top are human performance, fair and impartial policing, basic laws of arrest, like search and seizure, Fourth Amendment.
Use of force is a big one.
Use of force is a huge one. So those are the topics we like, because those are like the ones that people are talking about. Those are ones how we bridge the gap, so to speak, on to the community, because those are what people see in these clips, these video, the media and stuff like that. So that's how we can really connect to them and show them it's not just what you see. There's more to that.
All right, so we want to go ahead and give you a look at a video from the Citizens Academy that we took just to show you guys a little bit about how use of force training is taught inside the Citizens Academy. This specifically, what you're going to see, was taught by Lieutenant Tate McBride, specifically on use of force and de-escalation tactics. Take a look.
Her finger's on the trigger, and you understand all you have to do is the moment you see his right arm move, that's basically him pointing the gun at you, and all you have to do is pull the trigger one time.
Okay.
Hey everybody, I'm Lieutenant Tate McBride with the Las Cruces Police Department. Today we're teaching the Citizens Academy, and I'm covering a topic on human performance. So we're going to use these just so you can see when a trigger is pulled and kind of the decision that is made. Basically, am I going to use lethal force or am I not? Okay. What we get to do is offer scientific perspective backed by research, evidence-based, research-informed, that allows perspective for people to understand why officers do the things that they do under stress that may not be apparent to the general public. Now we're going to give her what a police officer would actually be doing. I want you to say, police department, sir, I need you to drop the gun. And he's going to talk back to you. And you're going to talk to him, and you're going to say, look, it ain't that bad. Like, I can help you through this. We have resources. We have things that we can offer to you. I want you to dialogue with him, okay? But the rules are the same. He chooses when he goes in. You have to beat it, okay? One of the reasons we talk about this with civilians is there's a lot of nuance to the police uses of force. And it's an area that a lot of people have questions about, a lot of opinions about it. Now I'll do it, but I want you to communicate on the radio. By the way, I'm gonna turn the lights off, so I need you to hold this handheld flashlight and keep light on him so that you can see what he's actually doing. By the way, if you're planning to shoot, I need you to make sure there's no one in front of him, between you, or behind him. Make sure there's no people walking around at that school back there. By the way, on and on and on and on. By the way, you need to be moving to cover because you're out in the open. Thinking about all these things, plus trying to react.
And I think that the average person will look at something that they see on the news and they'll second guess a police officer and they'll say, well, he should have done this and he should have done that, or he could have arrested the guy without reaching for his gun, or he could have done it without shooting the guy. Meantime, the other guy was trying to shoot him and kill him.
We judge things so quickly and move on. At no point do we stop and truly digest on that. Do we truly sit and like, well, what's the context? What came before that? Realize you're looking at a 3-second video that's supposed to describe an event that started an hour ago. Do you have the full facts? Do you know what it feels like to have been there? That is the purpose of this class, is to help offer a little bit of perspective, a little bit of knowledge.
All right, so let's talk about that. That video did really well on our social media and got a lot of engagement. And I think it's because use of force, like you were talking about earlier, is such a hot topic right now across the country. So let's talk about the video in general and how you taught that specific lesson.
So everybody's heard of Monday morning quarterbacking. Everybody's yelling at the quarterback for throwing the interception. This is our way of putting people in the shoes of the quarterback. They feel stress, but compared to what a police officer is experiencing in real life, it's minimal compared to a realistic situation like we're trying to recreate. This is a very watered down version of that. But what we're doing here is just looking essentially at reaction time, human performance, decision making, and all of that under stress, as far as dealing with a subject who might be in crisis, but also armed.
So during this specific training, you had someone come to the front of the room, and then you had Officer Arnold stand there. Can you kind of walk us through what you were doing there and what you were trying to get across?
Yeah, so when you see them holding what looks like a handgun, it's a converted handgun, and it's the same technology that we use for scenario and reality-based training for our officers. So it can shoot actual projectiles, which do hurt, or it can shoot a blank just to kind of give you a stimulus of a shot has been fired. And what we're looking at is what are the decisions that are being made, when are they being made, what is the temporal component or the time component to that, as far as what decision are they making and when, and then they have to explain why they made the decision they did when they did, the same as an officer would have to in an interview or in front of a jury.
Talk to me about your role. So you were the bad guy.
I was, yes.
And so tell us a little bit about that and what you were having to do to make sure this scenario went the way we wanted it to.
Yeah, so we had it already planned out ahead of time, and we know that most of the individuals, if not all of them, had no law enforcement experience.
Right.
So even to help them out in their favor, I had that converted handgun in my right hand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the rules were they fired upon me once I moved my hand, correct? Is that
Correct.
Right. So anytime I moved my hand, which they already had the handgun drawn at me already, they just had to take the shot. And it was going over reaction time on how fast I can pull out my gun, fire it before they even fired back at me.
Okay. It's really interesting too, because just being there and watching you guys both do this, it's so different for me being on the other end of things and to be able to actually hear from you guys directly about, what goes through your mind. There's so many different things. And you just heard it in the video where Lieutenant McBride was talking about okay, now try to think on this decision while answering your radio. Now try doing this. Now try doing that. It really is just so interesting. You don't really actually understand what that situation or what that moment could feel like unless you're actually in it.
Right, and remember, this is a very boiled down version
Right.
of that, where there's no risk of harm to anybody. We don't, put hands on students or do anything that's going to cause them injury, but nonetheless, it is very stressful for them. And so what it's designed to do is show just something as simple as reaction time, putting them in the best case scenario for them. Under simulated stress, it's still not realistic. There's not people recording you with a cell phone. There's not kids walking around in the background. This is not in the dark. There's no consequence for you if you fail. But it puts them in the shoes of the officer to where they have to make similar decisions under simulated stress. And they realize that it's not as simple as it may appear in a 10-second clip on YouTube.
I think the concepts that you guys teach are so interesting. And I think that's why so many people are so curious about the Citizens Academy, because people genuinely care and they want to know and they want to ask questions. And one thing I will say, just being inside of that space as you guys were instructing, you guys really keep it respectful and allow people to voice their opinions and ask questions. And just the environment in general, I should say, is just really respectful. And that's the tone you want to keep throughout the Citizens Academy, correct?
Right, and that's one of the things we go over in the beginning is essentially ground rules, and the ground rules are you have to have an open mind, we're going to have an open mind, and we're going to prompt you to disagree with me. I would tell, and I try to make it to where even if you think that I may have a pro-law enforcement bent to a certain issue, I'm going to present it in a way that is neutral, and if you even give me a pro-law enforcement response, like I understand why the officer did X, Y, or Z, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate now, and I'm going to make a very convincing argument in the contrary, and you explain to me if you think, based on what you've learned here, based on search and seizure, use of force law, human performance, whatever it is that you've just come to understand, Do you think my argument makes sense? Would you argue against it? And do you see things differently now that you've had a chance to somewhat step into the shoes of the officer?
Bias in policing. Let's move right along here, talk about that, because Sergeant Lazarine actually taught that class.
Yep.
We posted about it on our social media as well, if you want to go ahead and take a look.
As officers, we don't necessarily know the backstory of everybody that we're dealing with. So if we automatically make an opinion off of somebody's appearance and make an incorrect assumption, it could negatively affect how we serve that individual or how we help that individual.
How you doing today?
Don't touch me, get away from me.
Is there something I can do for you?
Who called you? And I want you guys to write down what your initial thoughts are that come to mind when you think bias-based policing or racial profiling. Based off of our training and experience as an officer, there are certain characteristics or appearance factors that may alert us to be on edge, that we could possibly be dealing with somebody dangerous or a threatening situation. So we don't want to completely ignore that either. So it's finding a balance on how we use our biases to keep ourselves safe, make sure we go home, but not allow them to overpower our response and the way that we deal with people, and making sure that we're always being respectful regardless of the situation.
So the video you just saw was taught by Sergeant Lazarine. We were there for that, and you guys could also talk a little bit about that and what you know about the lesson.
So it comes from a class that we had come in to train the trainer class. It was to teach our instructors to be instructors in something called implicit bias, which is in most part a subconscious bias that all human beings have about when we look at a person, how do we judge them? Or what conclusions are we drawing even at a subconscious level about that person?
Mm-hmm. And so what the activity that he did was he had people write on sticky notes, and then he went over it with the class. Talk to me a little bit about that. But then one thing he also mentioned that stood out was things that happen in our childhood as we grow up. We automatically have the way we see certain people, or you know what I mean? So basically, can you touch on that, and then also just tell me a little bit about how that from our lived experiences plays into the people that we are?
Right. So in law enforcement, your training and experience, whether it's academy training or maybe you have military experience prior or something in your personal life growing up as a kid, that all comes to bear whenever you're making decisions under stress. So one of the examples I use is a guy I know that got bit in the face by a dog when he was a little kid. Ever since then, he's had this uncontrollable fear of dogs, whether it's a little friendly dog running up to just lick his hand or a dog running up with some kind of bad intent. Dogs just scare him. And so that's kind of a simple example of the things that may have happened to you in your past that might heighten your stress level, might heighten your alertness, or exacerbate some of your responses because you've had a certain experience in one direction or another. And that's where the reality-based training comes in, is we're trying to give people those experiences, trying to give officers those experiences so that whenever they come across something that is intense or new, novel to them, hopefully they have seen something like it before and the stress is not quite as bad and they can respond with a bit more confidence.
What we saw in this exercise too was basically what Sergeant Lazarine had the Citizens Academy people do was he was dressed in like a hood and he was walking away and he was talking to them in a certain way and they had to try to approach him. Can you kind of walk me through that? That's the video you also just saw playing in that specific clip.
Right. So again, this is based on, in large part, appearances. So if you think about an officer who's walking up on an individual to do a welfare check, or maybe that person's been suspected of a crime, they have reasonable suspicion to stop that person. All of us, every human, is going to start looking at that person and looking for cues, especially subconsciously, to determine, is this person a threat to me? Are they going to comply? Do they want to talk to me? Am I going to be attacked? The brain is trying to figure out ahead of time what's coming so I can prepare for it. Is this a threat to me or not?
Mm-hmm. And I think what's really special about this space is there's so many of you guys who instruct during the Citizens Academy. Even Chief Story goes in, and I believe he actually instructs a class. So you're not just getting two of the same people every time. It's numerous people from across the department. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Right. So the chief is very good about going in there and speaking, which is good because you get to hear it from, the head of the department. We have an attorney who goes in and gives the legal perspective, and so you're getting the same training that an officer would get. You're getting the same legal perspective and case law education that an officer would get. So it's no different. You get us who are different people who are subject matter experts in different things. So we try to break it up. So it's, again, like you said, not just the same people giving the same message over and over again.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, when we started to revamp this, when we got with Chief to talk about who's going to instruct, obviously it came down to, all right, so what are the topics? Let's get these subject matter experts so we can really nail that point home, right? So he did a really good job. Again, he was the one who wants to jump in as well too with his topic of CIT and de-escalation, and bringing in everyone else who's, again, a subject matter expert just really drives that point home of the topics we're teaching.
Yeah, and I feel like we're really just scratching the surface here because there's so much more to the Citizens Academy than we have time for today, of course, but we kind of just wanted to give you a little taste of what it's actually like in hopes that more people would want to be a part of it. So now let's switch gears here. The video that you're taking a look at is of graduation day. Graduation day was so much fun. That video will play over while we talk a little bit about what graduation day is like. So tell me about that. So we were there for that. There was a little celebration.
Yes. Yeah, so we like to celebrate our graduates. They sacrifice their time to come be with us to learn, to further their knowledge about policing. So we celebrate that. We have a good time with them, have some snacks, have some beverages, and then we give them their certifications of graduation. We give them a challenge coin as well too, and then during that we also go over the ride-along schedule, because once you apply, you're saying that after you graduate you have to do a ride-along, which it's not a full ride-along like an 8-hour, 10-hour shift. It's only limited to 3 or 4 hour blocks, but again, it's to tie it all home of everything we talked about for the past 4 weeks of seeing it real and seeing it out there.
And those are already ongoing as well. I've seen
Correct,
people
yeah.
show up to the station from the Citizens Academy ready to go on their ride along. I think that's really cool. And also, in addition to that, let's talk about volunteer opportunities after that.
Yeah, so once you go through the Citizens Academy, you get the chance to volunteer for the police department, all kinds of different things. We've had graduates go through as role players in reality-based training.
Yeah.
We've had them assist with building floats for the electric light parade, a bunch of different opportunities.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to add just about the Citizens Academy?
No, again, we only have 1 year as of right now, but who knows where that's going to go in the future, and who knows if we're going to extend it from the 4 weeks or even longer. But we're always trying to build. We're always trying to, we take the information that's given to us from the citizens who have gone through, and we're always trying to build and make it better for them. So,
Yeah, you guys have feedback forms too after,
yes.
right before they finish up,
After
right?
each class and at the very graduation, we have a final in your own words, as long as you want, as short as you want. Tell us what we can do, your experiences, how can we make it better, that type of thing.
Okay, I think the big question mark right now is, when is the next Citizens Academy?
I wish I knew. It's going to be sometime in 2027, early 2027, within the first few months. We'll probably start taking applications in January.
All right, so we want to thank everyone for joining us for this month's segment of Bridging the Badge. The Citizens Academy is really so special to our department, and I want to thank the both of you because you guys do play a really big part. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we are a month away now from next month's segment of Bridging the Badge, and right now a really hot topic is stratified policing. So that'll be the next month's segment, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And even though the Citizens Academy isn't until next year, we'll be sure to post on social media when those applications go live. Thank you, everyone, and we hope you have a great evening.